Directions to Toronto, Canada. 2 days and 2 hours worth of driving.
Starting route to Toronto.
4,671 kilometers. All right, baby. Let's do it. 76 kilometers per hour. Come on, baby. We're chugging along. We can make this hill, buddy. We can do it. This isn't even the biggest one yet. Come on now. This is where the long and slow climb begins on the Coquihalla Highway. So here, I think we gain about 4,000 feet of elevation in a very short amount of time. And yeah, it's a little bit hard on the van. We're doing 90 kilometers an hour right now. But as soon as we hit the snow shed up here, things start to get pretty damn steep. And I could probably see that being at, I don't know, 80, 70. I'm not sure. I don't like to push my van very hard, but there's actually a TV series that's filmed on this highway called Highway Through Hell. It's a towing truck company, and yeah, they just filmed their life up on the Coquihalla Highway with all the wreckage and the rollovers and the semi-accidents. It's pretty crazy. Damn beautiful up here though. The mountains that surround this area are amazing. And what we're about to go through right here, this is called a snow shed. So if you can see the top of it, take a really good look. The top of it in the middle is flat. It's because a lot of avalanches come down here, and that will allow them to go over the highway without completely knocking out the highway every time. Okay, this is where it's starting to get pretty steep. I can feel my van bogging down. We're gonna move over into the other lane. We're at 74 miles per hour. This is a pretty big hill, this one. That says 120 kilometers per hour maximum. We're doing 72. You can feel the van work. But that's the thing about this highway, man. This is a long, long stretch. Come on, baby girl, we can do this. Another hill, and the van is just chugging along. Come on, baby, we can get this. Oh, snap. We're going camping tonight. Let me fill this baby out. I already tried one, I messed it up. Ooh, the hood of my van is so warm. It's $25, and we chose site number 47. How's it about?
Never could have been thinking I would know what the future bring. All the highs and lows. Said I'm gonna win, though the world might spin.
On Amazon, I picked up these little rubber pads from a company called Campground. I'll try to leave them in the description of this video, but this is supposed to be the soft base for their harder van leveling kit. Sorry, my brain's not functioning right today. For their van leveling blocks. I didn't want the plastic leveling blocks, and these are pretty solid, so I bought these, and I plan on just using these. So we're gonna put them to use here. We're gonna put one underneath this tire. One, two. All right. All right. It worked out pretty good. This side's up a little bit higher because that's my bed side. And I just brought this side up a little bit because the front is a little bit higher than the back. Yeah. The only time I ever pull those kind of things out or find a rock or something big to pull up onto is if I'm ever camping or in a backcountry style situation. I would never use that in the city because in the cities, you always tip towards the curb anyway because the streets are usually sloped to the curb so the water can run down off the curb and go down to the city drains, meaning that when I'm pulling up to the curb anyway, my head is always going to be higher than my feet. Oh, CRUZ, it's a doozy, isn't it, hey? It's a doozy out here. Come on. Come on, buddy. I popped the hood on the van to let some of that heat from the engine escape. Otherwise, it always seems to roll under the van and it kind of heats up the underbelly of the vehicle. And as fast as we can get that heat away from the van, the better. So the problem is on a hot day like today, is it may seem nice and cool inside the van because we have air conditioning and it's all nice and cool while you drive, but then you stop and then your exhaust underneath is smoking warm from you being on a nice long drive, and then that heat from the exhaust resonates through the floor and heats your house up. Sucks. So just a piece of advice from me to you: if you guys are traveling in your van, stop traveling around lunchtime. In the summer, allow your van to fully cool down, because then it's going to be one miserable night in the van where you're trying to like cool yourself off with the roof vent and then your circulating fan, but yet there's still heat from your exhaust coming straight to the floor. Makes for an incredibly miserable night. This is the very first year in my van life that I have been a giant wuss for summer heat. I never complained about it last year. I never complained about it the year before. This year, yep, I'm complaining about it. I do not like it at all this year. If I could avoid it, I 100% would. This is CRUZ's leash, by the way. He's lying underneath the table. I would avoid it if I could. And that's the great thing sometimes about traveling, is that you can travel to places that are a little bit cooler. So right now, because we've got things to do in Ontario in the month of September, we're stuck traveling through the heat wave. Normally during this time, you could have just waited and traveled a little bit later. That way it wasn't so damn hot out, because it is a freaking doozy out here. And we're at a campground not close to water. We popped into a few campgrounds today, and all the campgrounds that are close to lakes and stuff are completely full. This one, it's got a creek around here somewhere, way over there I think it is. But there's nothing near these campsites whatsoever. I noticed some tap water down there, so I might go down there and soak CRUZ down with the tap water by the bathrooms, and maybe soak myself down too. So if you're questioning about what it's like in the summer in your van, and you live in a super hot climate, it all depends on you and what you can handle, what you can take, and what you're willing to put yourself through. So, because like I just said, I'm a wuss this year. This year, I would love to not be in this temperature at all. You can do just about anything you want to the inside of your van. And to be honest, it's going to be the same temperature as outside no matter what you do. So if you're in the shade and the temperature around your van is hot, the inside of your van is going to be the same temperature. The only thing you could do at that point is to circulate some of that air, and hopefully you're sweating a little bit and you can cool yourself down, or just soak yourself down and your clothes down and sit in front of the fan, because it definitely will cool you off. But that's the thing about van life, whether it's summer or it's winter. If you don't have an air conditioner, your inside of your van is always going to be the same temperature as whatever it is outside. Same thing with the winter. If you're not running a heater, the inside of your van is always going to be the same temperature as outside. So this way, if you shut your heater off in the winter and you go to bed and it doesn't run for 8 hours, by the time you get up in the morning, it'll be the same temperature inside within a degree or so as it is outside. And that's the crappy thing about summers in van life. Not unless you've planned things out and you put yourself in epic places where the temperature is way better. Like, let's use Vancouver, for example. If I was in the valley just outside of Vancouver and we had a super hot day, all I would have to do is drive back to the ocean and it would drop by 5, 6, 7 degrees Celsius. And when it gets hot in Vancouver, you could just catch the ferry to Vancouver Island, because it's always another 5, 6, 7, whatever degrees Celsius cooler. You got places where you can run to, but when you're out here and you're inland this far, unless you can find a creek or a river or a lake to jump into or put your feet into, you're stuck. Like, it is a muggy night tonight, and chances are I'll probably put my bug screens in and sleep with my doors wide open, just like you see it. That's the good thing about being at a provincial campground. For the most part, you're pretty safe and secure, so you can do stuff like that on hot nights. We drove a lot today. Let's find out how far. We left Chilliwack, BC this morning.
Getting directions to Chilliwack.
Looks like Chilliwack is, drum roll please, 5 hours and 55 minutes away from here, meaning we drove 5 hours and 55 minutes today. This heat is not helping. So I can't help some of you guys who live in super hot climates. I can't help you guys if you van life in Florida or Arizona, but we have a great crew of subscribers here that might be able to help you out in the comment section with some tips and tricks that they have found to keep themselves cool on those hot summer nights in places that I have never been in my van. So I can give you tips and tricks on my end, but that's all I can tell you guys is if it's hot, it's going to be hot. Period. Man, I really want to find a creek. All right, you guys. So if you're wondering what I have in my van for circulating air, I've got a max air roof vent on the roof of my van, which has been wide open since the day I bought it. And that either pulls in air full time in this kind of heat or pulls it out depending on my situation, like if I'm cooking or whatever. And I have a Campground circulating fan. I love that thing. It's called the Sirocco 2. That thing is a beast. It's sitting by my bed. I can tip it pretty much any direction you could ever imagine. But that's what I'm using in my van to circulate some air around. And for the most part, on a summer evening, temperatures drop down to a decent sleeping. Like, we don't get 30-degree nights. If we did, I would be running for Alaska, Iceland, wherever it snows. Is there a place that snows all year round? The North Pole. I'm gonna go hang out with Santa Claus. If we had 30-degree nights, I'd freak out. Out anywhere I've traveled, I think the warmest we've ever had at night has been like 24 degrees. Hey Siri, what's the temperature right now?
It's about 31 degrees outside.
So 31 degrees, and it says it's going to be dipping down to 19 or 20 degrees overnight. So it'll be 22 degrees at 10 p.m., then 21 at 11, 20, 19, 19, 18, about 3, 4 in the morning. So it should be a decent, comfortable night's sleep if we leave the side doors open, or at least leave the back doors open anyway. But we don't get super hot nights, not on this side of Canada anyway. I've never experienced those primetime summer temperatures in Toronto where it gets ridiculously muggy, and I can imagine how gross it would feel inside of your van. But yeah, that's all I wanted to tell you guys, is that get used to the heat, guys. It's the way it is. You know what I mean? Without an air conditioner, you're kind of like SOL. That's a good idea for some of you who really struggle with the heat or who may have medical conditions for the heat. If you had to buck up and buy a small baby apartment air conditioner and then maybe hit some powered campsites in the summer on those really hot nights, that is always an option. So if technically that's kind of like paying rent. If you only had to pay rent for a couple of months out of the year to keep yourself nice and cool, because honestly right now, if I knew that there was a campground that offered electricity and gave me the air conditioner to throw inside of my van, I would be there tonight. Yeah, I would. You damn right I would be there. Could you imagine? That's a good idea. So if anybody out there owns a campground, you should rent air conditioners, because I'd be stoked for one right now. I paid $25 for this place. It's got outhouses for bathrooms. It had some shade. It's got no, I guess it's got water by the things. I want an air conditioner. Maybe we should go buy an air conditioner. But this is the first time I've ever felt this way. I never felt this way last year. We got lucked out on all of our travels last year. Everything was super cool, never really hot. And even when I was up north, up the Alaska Highway this year, when it was warm in Vancouver, it was like 15 degrees, sometimes 8 degrees Celsius overnight. It was beautiful. I should have stayed up there. That's what I should have done. Anyway, you guys, hopefully this helped you with some of the questions you have about summertime in the van. Just suck it up, because it's gonna be hot.